Hello, I'm Beth Joey. This is a video. These are some books. Let's get into it. As you've probably heard me say a million times by now, I have gone on a bit of a spree borrowing books from the library. I went and reserved a bunch of books and then they all seem to be available at the same time. So let's do a big library book haul of all the books that I currently have reserved and have to read basically within the next 2 weeks. First up, we've got The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which is a Greek mythology retelling following Achilles, as you would expect. So it starts with an awkward young Patroclus, who is an exiled prince who's been sent to the court where Achilles resides, and the two of them befriend each other, but as they grow into young men, their friendship blossoms into something more like love, until the news that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped reaches their court, and so Achilles goes off to the distant lands of Troy to fight in a war, and Patroclus goes with him. And it chronicles their love story, the heartbreak, the tragedy, and I'm told it's going to make me fall apart and absolutely break down in tears, so naturally I'm really looking forward to reading it. Next up, we've got A Deadly Education by Naomi and Novik. I don't know a ton about this book, so I'm just gonna have to refresh my memory on the blurb real quick. So it follows Elle Higgins, who enters a school of magic, which reminds me a little bit of Fourth Wing, even though this was written first, because the whole thing is like graduate or die, and that's very similar to Fourth Wing. Despite being without powers, without preparation, Elle Higgins possesses this extreme level of power that sets her apart from all her other classmates and gives her the potential of being able to kill her other classmates. So she's doing everything she can to not use this power, unless of course she has no other choice. And I presume it just follows Elle's story, probably making friends, found family kind of aspect. I assume it's dark academia as well. I don't know much else other than that. Next up, we've got Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. This is one that I think has been doing the rounds on BookTube for a little bit. I think it was in one of the book subscription boxes, like Book of the Month or something, but I could be wrong. And it follows a group of true crime experts on a show called Infamous who return to a case that happened in October of 2003 when a man named Luke is found dead on his property in the garden, leaving behind a much older widow and 3 stepchildren. No one saw anything, no one knows what happened, and all the secrets will be revealed live on camera in this story. It is mixed media, so you've got chats in forums, you've got news coverage, you've got text messages, you've got the actual script of the show itself, and I think that is such an interesting way of delivering a story. I'm always looking for more mixed media murder mysteries, so I can't wait to pick this up and hopefully just speed through it, because mixed media tends to be a faster read as well. Next, we've got Every Summer After by Carley Fortune, and it follows a young woman named Persephone, which I love because I've been loving all the Hades and Persephone retellings. This isn't that, but it still makes me think of that. Anyway, she used to every year for 6 years go to this small village to live and work with a young boy named Sam, who she met and presumably fell in love with there, until something happened that tore her away and made that she'd never return. But in the present timeline, it's been a decade since her last summer there, and something brings her back and forces her to confront the life that she left behind and the love that she left behind that is undeniable. It feels very People We Meet on Vacation, so I'm hoping it's not too much of a replica of that, but either way, I'm keen. Next up, we've got If We Were Villains by M L Rio, which I'm told is very, very pretentious in its writing, but is still absolutely soul-suckingly addictive. So it follows Oliver Marks, who's been in prison for the last 10 years for a murder that he potentially didn't commit, and he has been adamant about his innocence for the last 10 years. So the detective, who I think originally worked on the case, goes to visit him and finally get him to reveal the truth about what happened. So it takes you back in time to the elite conservatory that Oliver was a part of back 10 years ago, what really happened between the group of friends that led to the mysterious murder of one of them, and I'm told it's dark academia, it's pretentious, it's Shakespeare inspired in that they sometimes slip into Shakespearean prose as they act out in real life and on stage the various Shakespeare plays. So I don't know, that sounds really exciting and also very, very dark. Next up, we have got Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This story follows Mara, who has seen her sisters for years and years at the hands of the abusive prince. So she goes and seeks out a grave witch to give her the tools to take down this prince. The grave witch agrees as long as Mara goes out to complete 3 impossible tasks. And on her quest, I have to read you the list of characters. Mara is joined by the grave witch, a reluctant fairy godmother, a strapping former knight, so potential love interest, and a chicken possessed by a demon. Together, the 5 of them intend to be the hand that closes around the throat of the prince and frees Mara's family and their kingdom from its tyrannous ruler at last. So I'm getting sort of found family vibes, and I'm getting potentially some humor here. Next up, we've got Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse, which is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson series. I've only read the first. I'm waiting for my hold on the 2nd one to come through before I can pick up this one, but I still wanted to include it in this haul. Percy Jackson, the whole series follows, as you'd expect, Percy Jackson Jackson, who is just a normal 12-year-old boy until he finds out that he is a demigod. He is the son of Poseidon. He only finds this out because essentially his math teacher turns into a demon that attacks him, which prompts his mum to take him to Camp Half-Blood, where he learns the ways of demigods, he learns his history, he learns his true parentage, and he's sent on a quest to retrieve Zeus's lightning bolt, which Zeus believes has been stolen by Poseidon / Percy. So Percy is sent on a quest to retrieve it before World War III starts. I essentially picked up this series because I watched the new show and it made me really intrigued to read the books behind that show on Disney Plus, and I absolutely loved my time in the first book, so I am looking forward to picking up the rest of the series soon. Next up is the Jasad Heir by Sara Hashem. This is one of those books where I heard, I think, people on TikTok saying that if you loved ACOTAR and Fourth Wing and all that kind of stuff and you want more of that fantasy romance, you should pick up this book. But I have no idea what it's about, so I'm going to read you the blurb, and it says, 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, its royal family murdered. At least that's what Sylvia wants people to believe. The heir of Jasad escaped the massacre, and she intends to stay hidden, especially from the armies of Nazal that continue to hunt her people. But a moment of anger changes everything. When Aaron, the Nazal heir, tracks a group of Jasadi rebels to the village, Sylvia accidentally reveals her magic and captures his attention. Now Sylvia is forced to make a deal with her greatest enemy, help him hunt the rebels in exchange for her life. A deadly game begins. Sylvia can't let Aaron discover her identity, even as hatred shifts into something more between the heirs. As the tides change around her, Sylvia will have to choose between the life she wants and the one she abandons. So enemies to lovers is what I'm getting, and I couldn't be more intrigued. We've got a book that I did not expect to come through from my library as quickly as it did, and that is Faebound by Sara El-Arifi. I have seen people ranting and raving about how amazing this book is, so I didn't expect my hold to come through. I thought the queue would be super long. But hey, I got it, and I'm super excited to read it. It's probably what I'm going to be reading next after the last book, which I'm going to show you. As for what this one is about, again, I don't really know. I just know that everybody said it's amazing. So the blurb says, Riordan was born on the battlefield, lived on the battlefield, and one day she knew she'd die on the battlefield. As a warrior in the Elven army, Riordan has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister, Nettle, is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Riordan's exile from the Elven lands, both sisters are forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond their borders. There they encounter the impossible, the Fae court. The Fae haven't been seen for a millennium, but now Riordan and Nettle are thrust into their seductive world, torn between their loyalty to each other, their Elven homeland, and their hearts. I can't wait. And lastly, we've got The Witch's Blade by A.K. Mulford, which, as you can see from my bookmark, I am currently reading. I'm 50% into this book. It is the second book in the 5 Crowns of Okrith series, following the High Mountain Court, which follows Remy and Heir. So Remy is a young red witch who's been hiding away all her life from the kingdom that persecuted her and her family many years ago. She is teamed up with 2 brown witches, and they're constantly on the move until one day 4 Fae come into the bar where they're working and recruit them for a quest to find some magical artifacts that could potentially overthrow the kingdom that is currently in power. So it follows them finding those magical artifacts, follows Remy falling in love with the Fae prince Heir and taking back the power of the High Mountain Court, which is where she was originally from. This second book follows a different character who I can't tell you who that is because it gives away some spoilers from the first book, but let me just tell you, this particular character has dealt with a lot, and this book definitely starts in a dark place, but I'm loving the character growth that we're seeing from them and the romance that happens. Yes, it only happens about 50% of the way through the book, so it is a little bit of a slow burn, but the romance is amazing. So this is the final book in my library book haul. There are 10 books in total in this haul, and I do have 1 reservation at the library waiting for me to pick it up today. I can't remember what it is, which is always a sign that I have too many. And I have about 2 weeks to read all of these because I'm not a fan of people who renew and renew and renew, which means people aren't able to get the books that they also want to borrow. It bugs me so much when people do that, so I refuse to be one of those people. So these may not all be getting read. But as a bit of a teaser for next week's vlog, I am going to be reading a bunch of these books all in one vlog video, my library reading vlog. So if you're intrigued about my more in-depth thoughts on any of these books, do go and check that out. It comes out on Tuesday next week. As I said, I am in the middle of The Witch's Blade at the moment, and I'm really loving it. So hopefully it's a good fun time. But that is it for this video. So do let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books and which books you think I should prioritize for that reading vlog. You never know, you might see them come up. Or just let me know what you're reading at the moment, loving it, hating it, all that kind of thing. Come and chat to me in the comments down below. I love talking to you guys, and and I do my best to reply to every single comment. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do let me know by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell all down below. It's a super easy way to help my channel grow, and I will see you lovely people in my next video. Bye!